Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Halloween Podcast. I am your host, Lyle Perez. It's October 4th, 2024, and today is episode 23 of our Haunted America series. Today we're headed to the North Star State, Minnesota. While it's known for its 10,000 lakes, snow-covered winters, and the bustling Twin Cities, it also hides a dark side. Minnesota's history is filled with stories of bootleggers, tragedy, and eerie mysteries that continue to haunt its towns and cities. We'll explore locations that go back centuries, some with spirits tied to notorious crimes, others that still echo with the past lives of their former inhabitants. And as always, we've got some hair-raising ghost encounters and even a few recent updates on these haunted places. So grab your warmest blanket, settle in, and let's journey into Minnesota's most haunted spots. We're starting off with a real Minnesota classic, the Wabasha Street Caves. Originally carved out in the 1840s to mine sandstone, the caves took on a new life during the Prohibition era as a speakeasy and dance hall. This underworld was attended regularly by some of America's most infamous gangsters, including John Dillinger and Ma Barker. Tales of bootleggers and mobsters fill these dark corners, and so do rumors of bloodshed. In the 1930s, 3 gangsters were said to have been executed in the back room of the caves, and while their bodies were never found, their spirits seem to have lingered. The staff and visitors alike report seeing shadowy figures, cold spots, and hearing the faint sounds of music from an era long gone. The most compelling ghost stories involve those spectral mobsters seen at the bar, dressed in suits, sipping their drinks before vanishing into thin air. Recently, the Wabasha Street Caves have resumed their popular ghost tours after a brief pause during the pandemic. Paranormal investigators have captured compelling EVPs with distinct voices whispering, "Don't come back," or "We're here." The caves are open to the public for tours and events, offering a glimpse into both their haunted histories and their speakeasy days. Next, we head to Palmer House Hotel in Sauk Center, a hotel that has a dark past dating back to 1901. Built on the site of the original Sauk Center house, which burned down in a fire, the Palmer House was meant to be a new beginning, but its history, combined with the tragic deaths that occurred in its walls, has left behind some truly eerie spirits. The most well-known ghost is Raymond, a young boy often spotted on the 3rd floor. His playful spirit is seen darting down the hallways or giggling in rooms where he seems to enjoy moving toys around. The hotel is also said to be haunted by a former maid who tragically died in the hotel. Her presence is felt in the dining room, and some guests have claimed to see her reflection in mirrors, only to turn around and find no one there. The Palmer House has been the subject of many paranormal investigations, including a recent one where thermal cameras picked up strange cold spots moving along the hallways and near the infamous Room 17. The staff has also started collecting a guest book filled with stories of ghostly encounters, making it a living testament to the hotel's haunted reputation. The Palmer House is open year-round, welcoming guests from both normal stays and ghost hunts. Built in 1910, the Fitzgerald Theater is Minnesota's oldest active theater. Originally named the Sam S. Schubert Theater, it has hosted some of the biggest names in entertainment. However, it's not just the living who are drawn to this beautiful theater. Several spirits are rumored to still enjoy the performances. One of the most famous ghosts is a former stagehand who died in a tragic accident while constructing a set. His apparition has been seen wandering backstage, adjusting props, or pulling ropes that no longer exist. Another frequent encounter happens in the orchestra pit, where cold drafts and sudden shifts in temperature are commonly felt, and the faint sound of footsteps can be heard. Recent visitors have reported seeing a shadowy figure sitting in the balcony during rehearsals, a phenomenon that's been documented since the 1950s. The theater underwent significant renovations in 2020, but none of the updates seem to disturb the spirits. Instead, more people are reporting strange occurrences as the building's history continues to come alive with each new performance. The Fitzgerald Theater is open to the public and hosts regular shows where you may just encounter one of its ghostly specters. The Glensheen Mansion in Duluth is a historical masterpiece, built in 1908 by Chester Condon, one of Minnesota's wealthiest businessmen. However, this grand estate is better known for the gruesome double murder of Elizabeth Condon and her nurse, Velma Paitila, in 1977. Elizabeth's adopted daughter, Marjorie, and her husband were implicated in the crime, but the details remain shrouded in mystery. Many believe the spirits of Elizabeth and Velma never left the mansion. Guests on tour have reported seeing an elderly woman walking down the grand staircase or peering out of the windows of Elizabeth's bedroom. Some say they've heard soft whispering voices and felt cold spots near the murder scene, particularly in the third-floor hallway. In a recent tour, one visitor snapped a photograph showing a mysterious figure standing near a window, dressed in what appeared to be early 20th century clothing. The mansion staff occasionally receive calls from paranormal groups looking to investigate further. The Glensheen Mansion remains open to the public, offering tours that delve into its opulent history and, for the brave, its haunted past. Tucked away in Hibbing is the Greyhound Bus Museum, which chronicles the history of the Greyhound Bus Company. While the museum itself showcases the transportation giant's legacy, it also occupies land where a hospital and orphanage once stood, both of which are rumored to have witnessed countless tragedies. Many visitors report seeing the apparition of a young girl wandering the museum, often near the older bus displays. She's frequently spotted looking out of the windows, as though waiting for someone who never arrives. There's also the spirit of a nurse, believed to have worked in the old hospital, who's often seen walking the halls. Some have even reported hearing faint cries from children and disembodied voices calling for help. In recent years, paranormal investigators have focused their efforts on the old hospital section, capturing numerous EVPs, including a woman's voice saying, "Help me," and a child's voice asking, "Where are you?" The museum continues to host its usual displays, but visitors should be prepared for more than just a history lesson on buses. The Greyhound Bus Museum is open to the public and offers a blend of history and haunting experiences. The Old Mons Theater in St. Paul, built in 1922, was originally a silent movie house and later a live performance venue. Over the years, the theater has become a hotspot for paranormal activity, with multiple spirits making their presence known. The most famous ghost is a little girl named Mary, who's often seen sitting in the front row, watching rehearsals. Performers have reported feeling her tugging on their clothes, or hearing her giggle during quiet moments on stage. There's also the spirit of a man dressed in 1940s clothing, often seen smoking in the lobby. When approached, he vanishes without a trace. The theater has undergone several investigations, with paranormal groups capturing EVPs of a child laughing and footsteps in empty projection rooms. The most chilling evidence came from an infrared camera, which caught a fleeing image of a childlike figure standing on the stage. The Old Mounds Theater is still open for performances, and you may just find yourself performing for more than just the living audience. Our next stop is the Soap Factory in Minneapolis, a former factory building from the late 1800s that was later converted into an art gallery. Before it became a cultural hub, the factory had a reputation for workplace accidents and unsafe working conditions, rumors of which have been tied to its paranormal activity. Visitors have reported hearing eerie whispers coming from the basement, where the most dangerous work was done. Shadowy figures are frequently seen darting across the gallery space, and cold spots are often felt throughout the building. The most disturbing reports come from those who have encountered the spirit of a worker in the basement. His face is pale, and his eyes hollow as he silently watches visitors before disappearing. The Soap Factory has been investigated by multiple paranormal groups, with EVP recordings capturing voices saying, "Get out," and shadowy figures caught on thermal cameras. While it's currently closed for renovations, it remains a favorite spot for paranormal investigators hoping to experience the unexplained. In Red Wing, Minnesota, the St. James Hospital has stood proudly since 1875. Known for its stunning Victorian architecture, the hotel is not only a beautiful landmark, but also home to several lingering spirits. The most well-known ghost is Clara Lilyblad, a longtime employee who worked at the hotel for over 3 decades. Guests and staff reported seeing her figure walking the hallways, often wearing a long black dress and carrying a set of keys. Room 310 is especially known for ghostly activity, with guests feeling an intense sensation of being watched. The ghost of a riverboat captain is also said to haunt the lobby, silently staring into the fireplace late at night. Recent renovations to the hotel have stirred up more paranormal encounters. Guests have reported lights flickering, objects moving on their own, and strange cold spots appearing out of nowhere. The St. James Hotel is open for guests, offering a glimpse into its historic charm and perhaps a ghostly encounter or maybe two. The Forepaugh Mansion in St. Paul is a Victorian home built in 1870 by businessman Joseph Forepaugh. While the mansion's architecture is grand and impressive, its tragic love story is what has cemented its haunted reputation. Forepaugh had an affair with his maid Molly, who tragically hung herself after their affair was discovered. Guests and staff have reported seeing Molly's spirit on the upper floors of the mansion, particularly near the window where she ended her life. She's often seen wearing a long dress and gazing out of the window in sorrow. Joseph Forepaugh's ghost is also said to roam the mansion, especially in the parlor, where he's seen staring out the window. Many have reported lights flickering, doors slamming, and the sound of a woman's voice weeping softly in the middle of the night. Paranormal investigators have captured EVPs in Molly's old room, with a woman's voice saying, "Why?" and a cold spot appearing when the temperature suddenly drops by several degrees. The mansion, now a restaurant, continues to host diners and paranormal investigators alike, many of whom leave with stories of their own encounters. Our final stop takes us to the haunting ruins of Lake Julia Sanatorium in Pulaski. Built in 1916 as a tuberculosis hospital, it housed patients suffering from the deadly disease. The sanatorium's remote location, combined with the many lives lost to tuberculosis, have created a chilling atmosphere that still lingers today. Visitors to the abandoned site have reported seeing ghostly figures in hospital gowns wandering the grounds. Some have even spotted shadowy apparitions moving through the crumbling hallways of the sanatorium's remaining buildings. The most unsettling report comes from those who have heard faint coughing and footsteps in empty corridors, remnants of the sanatorium's past life. In recent years, explorers and paranormal investigators have flocked to the site, capturing EVPs of a woman's voice saying, "Help me," and the sound of medical equipment being moved, even though the building has been abandoned for decades. Although it's not officially open to the public, the sanatorium remains a popular destination for those interested in urban exploration and the paranormal. And there you have it, folks, our ghostly journey through 10 haunted locations in the state of Minnesota. I hope you're enjoying our Haunted America series as we count down to Halloween with spooky tales from each of the 50 states. If you want to dive deeper into some of these states or want to find out where they're located, check out those show notes. If you're loving the Halloween podcast, don't forget to leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. If you have any questions, comments, or want to suggest anything for a future show, go ahead, send me an email to halloweenpodcast@gmail.com. And if you want to support the show, head on over to our website, thehalloweenpodcast.com, and check out our merch store. We got some really cool stickers, some shirts, some postcards, a lot of cool stuff to keep you in the Halloween spirit. All of the proceeds help the Halloween podcast continue, so please order some of that merch or leave us that 5-star review because believe me, they do help. And be sure to give us a like on Facebook at facebook.com/thehalloweenpodcast. Don't forget to come back tomorrow because we are coming very close to my home. We're going to be in Mississippi. I go to Corinth, Mississippi quite often, and we have that Corinth Comic Con coming up on November 2nd, which I will be there. So if you want to come hang out with me, if you want to say hi, come to Corinth Comic Con November 2nd. I'll be there. So yeah, come back tomorrow, guys. The Magnolia Estate is on its way. I'll see you later. Have a good night.